welcome to Therate. I am your host, Katie, with my co-host Ashley, and we are covering the song This Is Me Trying off of the Folklore album by Taylor Swift. We are not therapy, but we are a good time, and we look forward to processing this song with you. Just as a heads up, we want to provide a little bit of trigger warning to some of our listeners because this song does address themes like suicide, addiction, alcoholism, and if those are sensitive topics to you, we encourage you to pace yourself, maybe skip this episode. But if you feel up for it, we're excited to journey alongside you. Ashley, really excited to be interviewed by you. Let's dive in.
Yeah, Katie, this was on your list. I'd love to hear why you chose this song.
I think this is maybe the most mental healthy song that Taylor has ever written.
Yeah.
And it's one of my personal favorites on the album. It's deeply relatable in the sense that, um, it's just somebody saying, like, I have made so many mistakes, I have screwed up, and I haven't arrived, but I'm trying to be better. And that's all that I have right now is my effort. And I think a lot of people can relate to feeling like I've made mistakes, but I want to change that. And all I have right now is my effort for that. And I really love that theme.
Hmm.
Um, and I think the song also touches on a lot of deep themes like grief, regret, feeling unable to move on, conflict, addiction, broken relationships, accountability, effort. Like it's just a gold mine in terms of like the story that's told in this song.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it is. How could we not choose the song? It's so good. I'm
Mhm.
excited to hear your thoughts about this. So, would you
Um,
like to provide a summary of the song before we really get into it?
yes. So essentially, the song opens with somebody saying, I'm having a hard time adjusting. And they talk about their potential that they've had that everybody could see, that they could see in themselves. And then they find themselves on a lookout in their car and thinking, I could go over the edge of this cliff. And they don't. They instead travel to this person's doorstep and they're not really quite sure what to say, except that I have a lot of regrets. I'm very sorry, and I'm trying to be better. And so in this song, you just kind of hear this person's journey of starting out strong, but then encountering what sounds like alcoholism, or an addiction, and or struggles. We don't know. It could be more than that. Um, and then they fall behind and then they're trying to make repair and it sounds like they're trying to talk to the person or community or group of people that they have hurt by their behaviors and trying to make amends. So a couple lyrics that I'm going to highlight are I've been having a hard time adjusting. I had the shiniest wheels, now they're rusting. Pulled the car off the road to the lookout. Could have followed my fears all the way down. I got wasted like all my potential. My words shoot to kill when I'm mad. I have a lot of regrets about that. Pouring out my heart to a stranger, but I didn't pour the whiskey. It's hard to be anywhere these days when all I want is you. You're a flashback in a film reel on the one screen in my town. I just wanted you to know that this is me trying. At least I'm trying.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Such good lyrics. What questions would you be asking this person?
The first, my first question as I listened to the song was, what happened to you?
Mm,
When did your shiniest wheels begin to rust? And when did the curve turn into a sphere where you were like ahead of the curve and then all of a sudden you're like behind it? Um, so that feels like a turning point in this person's story, and I really would want to show curiosity and not judgment on maybe like the presenting symptoms, right? Like the maladaptive coping strategies, potentially like alcohol or whatever, and instead just try to understand how did you get here? And then I'd ask the question, you could have gone over the lookout, but you didn't. Didn't go over the edge. What stopped you?
mm.
What's your why for staying alive? Um, and then my last question is, who all do you need to talk to? You refer to someone or a group of people as the flashback in a film reel in the one screen in your town. Is this one person? Is this a community, a friend, or a family member, a partner? Who are the people that you feel like you need to make amends with?
Yeah, those are such like beautiful questions because it's honoring the person, right? It's honoring the human in front of you. It's not saying, why do you do that? You know, why are you doing that? Why are you feeling that way? It's saying like, okay, I'm ready to sit with you, right? I'm here.
Hmm.
What would you validate about this person's experience?
Your effort. You're trying. And not only are you confessing your effort, but you are also telling other people that you're trying, which I think is a really vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, and that's enough, honestly. Like just having radical honesty and a genuine effort is all you need to get started. And oftentimes when people come to therapy, they're not even 100% sure why they're there, or they have an idea of why they're there, but then we end up talking about things that maybe weren't the presenting thing they came in for. And I just want to normalize that that's completely okay to not know exactly what to say, but your posture in this conversation of like earnestly wanting to have honest conversations about your past and your choices is all you need. That's what matters the
Hmm.
most.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of going back to like it's one thing to make a choice that you don't that maybe you're not proud of or that you don't like and like let that be. It's another thing to like say like listen, I recognize it and I'm making an effort here. Um and I think that's kind of what you're pointing out.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
would you challenge? Anything you would challenge?
Yeah. So something that occurred to me to potentially challenge, and it certainly would not be in the first few sessions with this client. It would be further in the therapeutic journey, but it was something that is not implied in the song, but it's something that I personally, with my therapeutic insight, feel like it's relevant to discuss. So I'm going to veer slightly outside of the parameters of our song,
I
to
love that.
explore here. Um, so this client talks about wanting to go talk to somebody or a community of people, showing up on their doorstep, not sure what to say, saying, at least I'm trying. And that is a very moving thing for somebody to do. And I want to emphasize that is your timeline. We don't know the full story of this person. We don't know just how hurt other people might be by their behaviors. We don't know where other people stand. Are they ready to take them back? Are they not? Are other people ready to forgive and move forward and say, hey, yeah, like you're trying to turn your life around and I'm on board with that? Or are these people like, hey, I need to close the chapter of our relationship,
Hmm.
or I need you to rebuild trust with me, or I need to have reduced contact, or whatever that may be. Your timeline is yours, and that may not match other people's timelines, and that needs to be okay. And by okay, I don't mean that you don't have feelings about it, I mean that you accept that.
Hmm.
Um, Take accountability for your own choices means that you are facing the consequences without blaming other people for having reasonable responses to your choices, even if those responses are very hurtful for you. Um, it's just a part of accepting that like just because I'm ready to turn things around doesn't mean other people are ready to take me back. And that shouldn't be the end of your process. It should be a part of it potentially.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Can you give maybe an example? And I'm putting you on the spot here, so it's okay if not, but um what would be an example of somebody maybe experiencing other people having a different timeline from them?
So a common one that I might see is in the context of, and another warning to our listeners, I'm going to talk a little bit about cheating here, which I didn't give a warning about initially, but just before I dive into that. I think a common experience that I have noticed in therapy with somebody who's recovering from some kind of form of infidelity is, let's say the person who did the betraying wants to make amends, but the person they betrayed is not on that same timeline.
Mm,
Maybe the
yeah.
betrayed wants to reconcile, maybe they're not ready to reconcile. Or it can also happen in the context, maybe there's like a pattern in a relationship that's unhealthy and hurtful. And, you know, someone has been saying, hey, please make change, please make change. And this person has the other person has not. And then when this, other person decides, oh, I'm ready to make change now, the other person's like, I've been waiting on you. And now that you're making change, I don't know that I'm ready to accept it because
Mm-hmm.
you're late. I waited years for this. And did that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That does make sense. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes I think that the hurt that we do to other people, it has a consequence. And just because we're ready to make amends doesn't necessarily mean that we don't face the consequence of how
Right.
that affected somebody else and what they may decide to do with that or not do. And so um, that's part of humbling yourself and moving forward and not saying, oh, I'm just doing this to get back this person or to restore this relationship. It might be restored, it might not, but your work is to do your work, whether or not that goes in the direction you want with like a restored relationship with another person who you hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It can't be about an outcome. It can't be about their outcome, it has to be about yours.
Yeah. Because, well, yeah, you can't control the effects of something on someone else.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, outside the parameters of the song wasn't directly stated, but when I've talked with people who are navigating situations like this inevitably tends to come up down the road. And so we have to talk a little bit about your motivation and why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Great thoughts, Katie. Anything you would recommend?
There is a really fine line between a shame spiral, where you're beating yourself up, and taking accountability for your own choices.
Mm,
It is your job to find that line. And in this song, I think the person or this client is doing it. I hear that in the lyrics, my words shoot to kill when I'm mad, pouring whiskey slash getting wasted. Um, that's accountability. You're saying like this is what I did, this is my regrets for what I've done.
mm-hmm,
And then there's also a line in the song that says you're a flashback in a film reel on the one screen in my town, which to me sounds like rumination. And for any of our listeners who may not be familiar with what that term means, um, a quick Google will tell you that it means getting stuck in a cycle of repetitive, negative thoughts, replaying past events, or worrying about the future without finding a solution, oftentimes intensifying feelings of sadness, guilt, anxiety, shame, and hindering problem solving. Um, and so I just want to ask this person, like, are you ruminating? Are you kind of stuck on this? That's what it sounds like. It sucks like you're thinking about this situation or situations and it's just replaying again and again in your mind. And rumination will not propel you forward. It keeps you stuck. And so you might need some tools to get out of that. And you also need to be able to recognize like when you're taking accountability for your behaviors and when you're beating yourself up over that. And something that was said to me once that has stuck with me for a long time is that your consequences are already the punishment for your behaviors. You don't need to beat yourself up more. Like, you don't need to
mm-hmm,
add to that punishment. You're already walking out the consequences. And there are some people who have this tendency to just like continue to feel bad as if that somehow like making up for what they've done or they deserve to feel terrible. And we have to find that line between like, shaming myself is not going to get me anywhere, but I do have to take responsibility and move forward. And that can feel like a blurry line at times, but it's important work to find it and to navigate it well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Such good points. Anything you would say to encourage this person?
I would say make a new relationship to your potential. So in the song,
Ooh.
there's a layer. That got a reaction. What's your reaction, Ashley? I want to tell me more.
I'm just excited. I think, yeah, that's yeah. Tell me all about it.
You said, I got wasted like all my potential. I was so ahead of the curve became a sphere, fell behind all my classmates, and I ended up here. So, what I would, say to this client is you didn't reach the expectations that you and other people had for your potential. And that doesn't mean that your potential is gone. It means that the expectations are gone. You can make new expectations for yourself. Our life experience rises and falls on our expectations. And you have the power to reimagine what you want your life to be now that you're facing disappointment. That's your work. You still have potential. Potential and expectations are not the same thing.
Hmm.
So, shame will make you feel defeated. It'll make you look at what could have been and just ruminate potentially in your regrets. But taking responsibility and saying, like, even in the face of like this disappointment, even in the face of these struggles and this loss, there is still a bright future. There is still possibility to move forward and rebuild something pretty amazing, even from these ashes. I think that's where freedom lies and moving forward from our mistakes.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Well done, Katie. Anything else you want to say about this song?
If our listeners have not heard this song, please listen to it.
Yes.
As soon as you finish this episode, give it a listen, put it on
Hmm.
repeat. It's just such a good song. If you're in your feels, it'll meet you where you're at. If you're not, maybe put on a happy song, go listen to the new album. Like, this one's not for you. But if you're in a low place, this might just be your song.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. And if you want Taylor's perspective on this, she does do a little interview about each song on the Long Pond Studio sessions. And you can find
Mhm.
those on Disney Plus and YouTube, I believe. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Ashley, I'm so eager to dive in and hear your thoughts. Can we transition now and do that?
let's do it. Yeah.
What are your questions for this client?
Yeah, yeah. Um, how can you tell that the wheels are rusting? What are you noticing that is showing you that like the things that you had or the things that you want aren't quite what you thought they would be or what you wanted
Mhm.
them to be?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, what are you noticing that tells you you're having a hard time adjusting? That's a question I'll ask to kind of say like, are you
Yeah.
feeling this way? It can be hard for people to describe what that means. So, like, what are you
Mhm.
noticing about yourself right now and how you're interacting, how you're functioning that shows you that it's a hard time? Um, and when did you realize your curve was becoming a sphere? That's such a powerful image. And I feel like there could be another, like, I don't know, discussion about just that line. What does it mean for a curve to become a sphere and what does that really look like? And yeah, anyway.
Hmm. Totally agree.
Yeah. So those were my questions.
Those are good questions. And again, your curiosity is just the opposite of any judgment, right? You're just asking these open-ended questions, but also really helpful ones because sometimes we know that something's wrong, but we haven't really thought to give the specifics of like when did we like individually pick up on this clue? What are my signs that I've gone too far or I haven't gone far, as far as I need to? Like,
Mhm.
so I just love the specificity of those questions.
Hmm. Thank you.
What would you validate for this client?
You're describing what it feels like to struggle despite your best efforts. Everyone has moments like that, and you keep making the healthy choices.
Oh, love this. Yeah, keep talking.
It shows so much resilience to say, I didn't pour the whiskey, to say, I was on the cliff or at the lookout, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't take that next step, right?
Hmm.
Like, it just shows how much effort it's taking to make those healthy choices, too, and how tempting it can be to do something that you might regret.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Resilience is a beautiful word for that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear a lot of resilience in this song. And I think sometimes people think like, well, resilient people don't think that way. Resilient people don't do those things, aren't tempted by that, or don't, struggle with that.
Hmm.
And I don't think
Hmm.
that's true.
Oh yeah,
Strongly
totally
disagree.
agree.
Unsubscribe to that.
Unfollow, unsubscribe.
So, yeah, I just think it's really powerful. So,
Any challenges for this person?
at first I said none, and then I said, um, the one thing that I said is it's okay to feel emotions and like spend time with them. Like,
Hmm.
and I think this person is like, I think this idea is underlying what they're saying, but just to reiterate that like it's okay to be struggling. It's okay to not have it all figured out and
Hmm.
to, it's okay that it takes this much effort. It's not something that like we want for you,
Hmm.
right? Like the hope would be that it doesn't always take this much effort, but right now it's okay.
Hmm. I love that you highlighted that it's okay for this to be hard, because I think there is this idea that I encounter in therapy where people are like, I've been doing this for so long, it shouldn't be hard. As if this hard thing should suddenly get easier. And, you might get more skilled at it potentially, but like a hard thing is hard by nature. Like that's why we call it hard. So, to hold yourself in judgment over something it doesn't matter how many times you've done it. It's still going to be a challenge. I like to think of that like in terms of exercise, right? Like you might be more skilled, you might be a bodybuilder or an athlete, and your workouts should still be hard. Like, and the same thing with like emotional work. Like it's always going to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What recommendations would you provide this person?
Yeah. Recognize the ways that you are succeeding.
Hmm.
And that kind of goes back to my validation too. But again, like there's so much courage and resilience here. And I love that line, but I didn't pour the whiskey. I'm talking to a
Yes.
stranger, but I didn't pour the whiskey, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
Yep.
yeah, right. Like, yeah, notice that. Like, acknowledge
Hmm.
that. That's really good.
Hmm. Yeah. And I like the lyric too, like it's hard to be at a party when I feel like an open wound. You went to
Oh,
the party. You
yeah.
feel terrible, but you still showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And like
I
that could
know.
be, that potentially might be you putting in effort. I think of somebody who's struggling with depression and like I feel
Mm-hmm.
terrible and I'm still gonna do the thing.
Yeah.
That's like I just love your point there.
It's a another line that we could spend an entire podcast on.
Yeah. Oh, this song is just full
Gosh,
of them, right? Like every single word, it just lands right where it needs to.
it does. Yeah.
Any encouragements that you would offer?
Yeah, I don't know that it's all that different from what I've already said, but just to reiterate, keep doing the hard thing. You're so brave and resilient and you know, you're already doing it. So keep it up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Beautiful encouragements. Thank you, Ashley. I love hearing what you have to say. Any final thoughts you'd like to add?
No, thank you so much, listeners, for joining us to break down this song. If you want to request a song, you can do that at thirdatapodcast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us, you can do that at Third Tape Podcast. And thank you, Jeremy, for editing this. We will see you at another episode.